All right. Mr. Hansberger, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in cause number 125948, the estate of George David Hansberger, in cause number 125949, the estate of Yvonne Marie Hansberger, shall be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. We're doing letters testamentary in
949.
yeah. So, well, I'm just going to get them to identify both wills. I'm going to show you what purports to be the last will and testament of Yvonne Hansberger. Do you recognize that as being her will?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to go back to the signature and ask you, is that her signature on that document?
It is.
And after the date she made this document on February 26th of 1988, did she ever change it or revoke it?
No, sir.
Okay, next I'm going to show you what purports to be the last will and testament of George David Hansberger. Do you recognize that as being his will?
Yes, sir.
And is that his signature on that document?
Yes, sir.
And after he made this will on the 3rd day of March of 1988, did he ever change it or revoke it?
No, sir.
Okay, go.
Judge, you got muted. I guess as long as you can hear me, it's fine.
Okay, we've got it back, so go right ahead, Mr. Hines.
Okay. Mr. Hansberger, we're here. Let's start with your father's estate. He died in Beaumont in 2011, is that right? I'm
Yes.
sorry, 2018.
Yes,
Okay. And at the time of death, he was married to your mother, Yvonne, is that right?
that's correct.
And in his will, it states that he left everything, all of his estate, to his wife, Yvonne, your mother, is that right?
Correct.
And so you're asking that will be admitted as a muniment of title. And at the time of his death, there weren't any debts or any estate debts for which for which your mother didn't pick up after his death. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And I've prepared this proof of death and other facts. Have you reviewed that? Is everything there true and correct?
That's correct.
Okay. That's all we have for that estate, Your Honor. And then moving on to your mother, she passed away on January 31st of this year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time of death, in the place of death was here in Beaumont and Jefferson County.
That's right.
Okay. And
Yes, sir.
again, the will was dated February 26, 1988. That will named your father as the executor, but he predeceased your mother, so your name is the first successor.
That's right.
And the will leaves everything first to your father, but since he predeceased your mother, it leaves everything now to you and your siblings, the equal shares. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And with regards to your mother's estate, we've also prepared a proof of death and other facts and document everything is true and correct.
Yes.
Okay, that's all we have, Your Honor. On the muniment of title, Judge, we just sent off the MERP form last week. We're not anticipating anything coming back, but we asked that if you could just hold that order until that form comes in.
We'd be happy to do so. You want to get him to sign his proof of death and other facts on his mother's estate? Mr. Hansberger, once she has notarized your signature on that proof of death and other facts, and you've signed your oath, and Mr. Hines will e-file those with the county clerk. He'll be able to get my order admitting your mother's will to probate and authorizing the county clerk to issue letters testamentary that'll give you legal authority to act on behalf of the estate. The court's request of you is that you cooperate with Mr. Hines in getting him a listing of the assets of your mother's estate. And of course, you'll want to do that after the muniment so that everything will have passed. Your father's community interest will have passed to your mother.
Okay.
He'll assist you in doing that. Just make sure you get him the information he needs to prepare the inventory, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you notarized?
Yes, sir. Done.
All right, we're done. And if y'all need anything, Mr. Hines, you let me know. Y'all have a great week.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you now.
So she's still on.
Okay, Mr. Radford. Schultz. Looks like he's, or he got two.
We're gonna do Derek first.
Derek?
Which one is in the office?
Hello, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Radford. Could you enable your video, please?
Yeah, I am.
Left.
Mr. Sacitano is in the waiting room too. He's going to be testifying as a subscribing witness on a copy of a will.
Okay, do you know what the name of his device is that he's signing on it?
I don't-
She's got him. She's got
Okay,
him.
you got, okay, great.
So he's gonna do it first.
Okay, so you're gonna do Derek first?
Yes.
That'll be, yes, sir, Judge.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sacitano, could you unmute your line, please?
Just did it, Judge.
Okay, and can you enable your video? It should be at the bottom left-hand corner. There you go.
Apologize
Chris.
for the morning. How y'all
Thank you.
doing?
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
All right, let's see here. All right, Mr. Sacitano, I waive the oath for you as an officer of the court. Mr. Joseph Derrick and Mr. James Derrick, if you'll raise your right hands, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Derrick and Mr. Derrick, I'm going to show you what purports to be the last will and testament of Joseph Parker Derrick Jr. or Senior. Do y'all recognize that as being his will?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask you, is this a copy?
Yes, it is.
Is this a copy of his signature on that document?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, and after the date he made this will on October 10th of 2014 at Beaumont, Texas, did he ever change it or revoke it?
No,
No, sir.
sir.
Okay, and Mr. Sacitano, I'm going to show you the attestation page of the will and ask you if that's your signature on that document.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay, and were you physically present with Charles Hanahama III at the time that the will was signed by Mr. Derrick?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and I take it you were above the age of 14 and Mr. Derrick was above the age of 18 and was of sound mind. Is that correct?
I think we were both well above it. Yes, sir.
All right. All right, go right ahead, Mr. Radford.
Okay. For simplicity's sake, can I just have one of the executors do the proof of death?
Yes, sir, you certainly may.
Joe, I'm going to ask you, did your father pass on April 7th of 2021 in Beaumont, Texas,
Yes, sir, he did.
at the age of 93 years,
Yes, sir, he did.
and 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death?
That's correct.
And he was domiciled and a resident of Jefferson County at the time of his death?
That's correct, sir.
And he, in fact, he had been a resident of Jefferson County for what, 60 or 70 years?
Yes, sir.
And you have seen, and the judge has shown you, and I have up on the monitor here a copy of his will dated October 10th, 2014. And have you examined that?
Yes, sir. I have.
And does that appear to be a copy of his will dated October 10th of 2014?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And with regard to his heirs, did he have 5 heirs?
That's
correct, sir.
Stephen Derrick, Laura Dansereau, Joseph Derrick, Michael Derrick, and James Derrick.
Correct, sir.
And Dr. Derrick was not married at the time of his death, correct?
That's correct, sir.
His wife, Nancy Jewel Derrick, preceded him,
That's correct, sir.
and there were no charitable or governmental bequests in the will, were there?
No, sir, there weren't.
And the will names you, Joseph Derrick, and your brother James Derrick as executors, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And both of you are not disqualified by law from accepting letters testamentary?
That's correct, sir.
And the probable value of the estate is less than $500,000?
That's correct, sir.
Judge, do I need any more questions from Mr.
No, you do
Sacitano?
not. Do you have any questions of Mr. Sacitano? If not, I'm going to let him be excused.
I don't, Your Honor, if you're satisfied that he's proved up the will.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sacitano. You have a great week.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chris.
Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, so if you'll get that proof of death and other facts in along with their oaths to the court, Mr. Derrick and Mr. Derrick, I will sign the order admitting your father's will to probate and authorizing the county clerk to issue letters testamentary that will give you authority to act on behalf of the estate. You will need to make sure that you cooperate with Mr. Radford in getting him a listing of the assets of your father's estate, because he's going to have 90 days from the date I sign the order to file what's called an inventory appraisement and list of claims with the court. And he'll need your assistance to get that document prepared, okay?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, do you have a notary there today, Mr.
Yes,
Radford?
sir. Yes, sir. She's fixing to take care of that while we do our next probate, Judge.
Okay, well then I'll just put the order aside. And if you want to go ahead and bring in Marjorie Schultz,
She's
we'll
right
take
here,
that
Judge.
testimony and then we'll wait.
Yeah, if y'all want to go over with Kathy, she'll get y'all to sign.
Mr. Radford, I'll go ahead and take your word for it when things have been notarized, and I'll go ahead and sign the order today, and then you'll follow up with the e-filing, okay?
I'll have me filed this morning, Judge.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth so help you God? Okay, I can barely hear you. You're going to need to talk up a little bit when you're answering questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz, I'm going to show you what purports to be the last will and testament of Charles Earl Schultz. Do you recognize that as being his will?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask you, is that his signature on that document?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, and after the date he made this will on March 15th of 1996, did he ever change it or revoke it?
No, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Radford.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz, did Charles Earl Schultz pass on August the 6th, 2020 in Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas,
Yes, sir.
at the age of 87 years?
Yes, sir.
And 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death, correct? Okay, and was Mr. Schultz domiciled and had a fixed place of residence in Jefferson County at the time of his death?
Yes, he did.
And you have seen the will up here that the judge has shown you, and then I have a copy on the monitor here. And is that will, his will dated March 15th, 1996?
Yes, sir.
As far as you know, it was never revoked or a new will was never made? And no child was born or adopted by the decedent after the making of this will? Okay, and your marriage was not dissolved after the date of this will, correct? You were married to him at the time of your death. And there were no.
Good enough.
I'm sorry, Judge.
That's good enough. If you'll go ahead and get her to sign her proof and her oath and let me know when those are notarized, please, sir.
They'll be notarized here shortly, and I'll have me filed this morning, Judge.
All right, we'll get the order signed. If you need anything else, Mr. Radford, please feel free to give me a call.
Thank you, Judge.
Y'all have a great week.
Thank you, Judge.
Take care. All right.
Anita's on now, so we can go with Mr. Overton.
Okay. Can I see her report, please?
All the squares on this. All the squares on this. 1, 2, 3, 5 people.
Pardon me?
There we go.
Who is the, Brenna Hatton? Where's Brenna Hatton?
Judge Brannick, my name's Tommy Overton. I represent Brenna Hatton. I just talked to her on the phone. She is in the waiting room. She doesn't know the name that her device is using as a login name.
Okay, there is a Brenna Hatton on here, but it's a gentleman.
That's Mr. Kevin Hatton. She is in the waiting room.
I'm here.
She doesn't know the name that her device is using. As,
Okay, she's in here by audio, but she's not in by video yet. Okay, there is a Brenna Hatton on here.
There you go.
It's a gentleman.
that's Mr. Kevin Hatton. She is in
I'm here.
the waiting room.
How is that?
She doesn't know the name that her device is using.
I can see everybody.
On devices in the same building?
No, we're not in the same building.
That's weird.
I can see Bruno.
Okay, Ms. Hatton, you're the applicant. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Overton.
Your Honor, this is a proceeding to declare heirship, and Mary Ann Kane and Carol Hance are the witnesses. Originally, Mr. Hatton was going to testify, and the court had some concern that he was within 2 degrees of consanguinity. He actually is not, but our witnesses will be Mary Ann Kane and Carol Hance, and then Ms. Hatton will testify in the.
I'm not interested as to whether or not they're in the required degrees of consanguinity or affinity. I'm interested in whether or not they're disinterested, truly disinterested witnesses.
Correct.
If they are closely related to an individual who has a monetary interest in the estate of the decedent, then they're not disinterested by this court's rules.
I understand. Thank you. Ms. Kane, would you please state your name for the record?
Mary Ann Kane.
I only swore in Brenna.
I'm sorry, I must have
Sworn
misunderstood.
in the other witnesses yet.
Your Honor, I have a question. The 2 witnesses that I interviewed was Kevin Hatton and Mary Kane. And did Mr. Overton say that he has a new witness?
Yes, he has a Carol Hance that's here today. I know you have not had the opportunity to interview. I'm going to take the testimony and then I'm going to make a decision about what to do later, Ms. Provo, and I'm going to allow you the opportunity to talk to the new witness before I sign the orders. So go ahead with the applicant, please, Mr. Overton.
Ms. Hatton, would you please state your name for the record?
Brenna Janelle Hatton.
Was your mother Vicky Dominguez?
Yes.
And was she also known as Vicky Lee Puckett, Vicky Lee Hance, and Vicky Lee Hance Leonard?
Yes.
She passed away on or about April 5th, 2021 in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, Texas, at the age of 67.
Yes.
With her residence in Jefferson County, Texas, and 4 years have not elapsed since the date of her death, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she was domiciled and had a fixed place of residence in Jefferson County when she passed away, correct?
Yes.
And she did not leave a will.
No.
And to the best of your knowledge, she never had a last will or testament.
No.
The necessity exists for the administration of this estate, correct?
Yes.
And you're the applicant and you're not disqualified from accepting letters of administration or serving as the independent administrator of this estate, correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Any questions of this witness, Mr. Provo? Okay, you're muted, but I think I saw you shake your head.
Okay. Let me work
All
on
right. Will Ms. Hance and Ms. Kane, if you'll raise your right hands, please. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Overton.
Ms. Kane, would you please state your name?
Mary Ann Kane.
And you are familiar with the family and marital history of Vicky Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
She passed away in April of 2021 in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, Texas, at the age of 67, with her residence in Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas, correct?
Yes.
And she was domiciled and had a fixed place of residence in Jefferson County when she passed away, correct?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, she did not ever have or make or leave any last will and testament or a will, correct?
Yes.
And at the time of death, she had been married and divorced on 3 occasions, to Gary Wayne Hance, then to Harvey Leonard Jr., then to Paul Anthony Dominguez. And she did not remarry, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Brenna Janelle Hatton, also known as Brenna Janelle Hance, Carlin McShay Guntle, also known as Carlin McShay Hance, were born to her during her marriage with Gary Wayne Hance. And each of Zachary Dominguez and Elijah Dominguez, who is also known as Peyton Dominguez, were adopted by her during her marriage to Paul Anthony Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
You're not aware of any other children or anyone else claiming to be an heir, correct?
Correct.
You do not have any financial interest in this estate, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Dominguez did not owe you any money, correct?
No, she did not.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Any questions of this?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. Ms. Kane, let me just ask you, you are the mother of Kevin Hatton, who is married to an heir of the decedent, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Please proceed with your next witness, please.
Carol, would you please state your name?
Caroline Hance.
Ms. Hance, are you familiar with the marital and family history of Vicky Dominguez, correct?
Yes.
She died intestate or without a will on or about April 2021 at Fort Worth, Tarrant County, Texas, at the age of 67, with her residence in Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas, correct?
Yes.
And she was domiciled and had a fixed place of residence in Jefferson County when she passed away, correct?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, she did not have or ever make or leave any will or last will and testament, correct?
Correct.
And at the time of her death, she had been married and divorced on 3 occasions. First to Gary Wayne Hance, then to Harvey Leonard Jr., and then to Paul Anthony Dominguez, correct?
Correct.
And she did not remarry, correct?
Correct.
Brenna Janelle Hatton, also known as Brenna Janelle Hance, and Carlin McShay Guntle, also known as Carlin McShay Hance, were born to her during her marriage with Gary Wayne Hance. And each of Zachary and Elijah Dominguez, who is also known as Peyton Dominguez, were adopted by her during her marriage to Paul Anthony Dominguez, correct?
Correct.
You are not aware of any other children or anyone else claiming to be an heir, correct?
Correct.
And you do not have any interest in the estate, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Dominguez did not owe you any money, correct?
No, she did not.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Hance, tell me, how did you know the decedent, Ms. Dominguez?
She is my husband's first wife.
Your husband's first wife. Okay. All righty. Ms. Provo, I'm gonna allow you the opportunity to call and speak with Ms. Hance so that if there's any additional report or supplement that you wish to prepare, so that you can do that if you feel it's necessary. So, but if you have any questions at this point in time, please feel free to go ahead and ask those.
You know Mrs. Dominguez?
Yes, I did.
How long, how many years?
30.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Okay. All right, we will allow you to get your document signed and into the court, Mr. Overton, and then we'll have further conversations once I have the opportunity to speak with Ms. Provo.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Have a great week.
Can you be excused?
Okay, looks like
Are we done?
Mr. Mills. Yes, you may all leave. Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Take care. Mr. Mills on Harris. Ralph. Thomas Ralph. Good morning, Mr. Mills.
Good morning, Judge.
All right, you have Mr. Ralph there with you.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Mr. Ralph, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ralph, I'm going to hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Ann Harris Ralph. Do you recognize that as being her will?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask you, is that her signature on that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and after the date she made this will on April 26th of 2016, did she ever change it or revoke it?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Mills.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Ralph, I have here the proof of death and other facts. And prior to the hearing this morning, you've read this document, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you find all the statements in the document to be true and correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I'll ask you to sign your testimony there, and I'll be your notary. Oath.
Mr. Ralph, as soon as those documents are notarized, I'm going to sign the order admitting your mother's will to probate and authorizing the county clerk to issue letters of testamentary. The letters are what's going to give you authority to act on behalf of the estate so that you can deal with real estate, title companies, financial institutions, and so forth. I know that Mr. Mills is going to do a great job of guiding you through the process. You'll need to make sure that you cooperate with him in getting him a listing of the assets of your mother's estate, because he's going to have 90 days from today to file an inventory with the court. But I know that he'll explain to you what that entails. And so, but he does require your cooperation. So please make sure you do that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you all notarize, Mr. Mills?
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
All righty. Our order is signed, and if you need anything else, Mr. Mills, let me know. I hope y'all have a great week and take care of yourselves.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Hey, looks like we're gonna go to Mr. Vernon. Good morning, Mr. Vernon. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Had a little trouble getting in with all the water down here today.
Yes, it was coming down pretty heavily. All right, Mr. Nelson, you're Emil Nelson?
Yes, sir. That's me, Emil Nelson Jr.
Okay, and you live in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, my sympathies to you.
It's a good enough place. It gets a bad rap. It's actually it's a good place to be. So
I can't remember what I was watching last night, a documentary on how they originally laid out the town and how the Capitol Hill was actually on a hill that had been surveyed by this French architect. It was pretty interesting.
that's actually where I live. I'm on Capitol Hill. So I'm about 1 mile from the Supreme Court down the street. It's pretty nice. So.
Well, I take it that you must be a member of the NRA.
I'm actually not a member, but I mean, I have a lot of guns, and you know what, my dad passed them, and both my grandfathers actually died last year. So I've all of a sudden inherited a bunch of guns. And so I went from having 3 or 4 to having 20. So anyway, I have it all. It's an armory that I have built here. So.
All right, Mr. Nelson, if I can get you to raise your right hand, please.
Yes, sir.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, I swear.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Was Charlotte Lucian Nelson your mother?
Yes, sir.
And did she predecease your father?
No, they're divorced.
Oh, they're divorced. I take it must have been after his making of this will in 1988?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Emil Nelson Sr. Do you recognize that as being his will?
There I do.
And I'm gonna go to the signature page and ask you, is that his signature on that document?
Yes, sir, it is.
And after the date he made this will on February 15th of 1988, did he ever change it or revoke it? All right, go right ahead, Mr. Vernon.
Mr. Nelson, you're familiar with the document titled Proof of Death and Other Facts?
Yes, sir.
And to the best of your knowledge, everything in there is true and correct?
Yes, it is.
And where in that document, it says your father died on June 1st, 2021?
Yes.
And that date is based off the death certificate?
Yes. Death certificate date.
With no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, so what's gonna happen, Mr. Nelson, is you are gonna make arrangements to appear before a notary public, sign your proof of death and other facts, as well as your oath. Have those notarized, return those to Mr. Vernon. He's gonna e-file those with the Jefferson County Clerk. When he does that, I'm gonna sign the order admitting your father's will to probate and authorizing letters of independent administration with your father's will annexed. That document, those letters of administration will give you authority to act on behalf of the estate so that you can marshal the assets, you can deal with real estate title companies, insurance companies, financial institutions and so forth. Marshal the assets of the estate, cooperate with Mr. Vernon in getting him a listing of what those assets are, because he's going to have 90 days from the date I sign the order to prepare and file an inventory with the court. And then you'll be able to distribute those, but I know he's going to guide you through that process. If there's anything else you gentlemen need, y'all feel free to call me, Mr. Vernon.
Yes, sir.
And let's see. It's already 10:45 in DC, so Mr. Nelson, you better get to work.
Today's actually Columbus Day, so I'm off. This is a good day to have it.
I forgot it's a federal holiday, but not a state holiday.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I hope y'all have a great one, and let me know if you need anything, Mr. Vernon.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Mr. Hagman?
Yes. This is the item. On Jonathan Burton's, they found his guy's dead. So at first he had the date they found it and not the date on the death certificate. That's why he was mentioning the death certificate date.
Yes.
I told him he had to go by the death certificate.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your
Good
Honor.
morning.
I'm going to be right with you. I'm just finishing looking over some of these documents. All right, where's Becky White?
That would be me.
Here. All right, and Vicki Evans and Stephen Anders.
Here.
Where, Mr. Anders, I don't have any video of you. Can you enable your video at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, please, sir?
I'm not sure what to do here.
Okay, I don't know if you have a touch screen or you're working on a device that doesn't have a touch
I have
screen.
a touch screen. Yes, sir.
Okay, touch down at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and see if you see a little red camera come up with a cross.
I don't see that.
Does your device have a camera lens on
I need you quick. Okay, hang on just a minute. Trying to get my video up.
Your video's not working?
Well, he said there was a.
Stephen, there may be a shutter or something covering your video lens because it looks
There's
like
not.
there's not.
Oh, you don't have the access. Hold on. Allow Zoom to access your camera. Just change your setting.
Tell you what we'll do, and while they're working on that, Miss Evans and Miss White, if you'll raise your right hands, please. You and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Haglund.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, as an officer of the court, I feel the need to make a disclosure to the court. I have been a member of this family in the past. I met all of these folks in the summer of 1970. Ms. Evans and I were actually married to one another for 20 years. Ms. White, the applicant, is her first cousin. I've known Ms. White since she was a sophomore in high school. We've now been divorced and get along very, very well for more than going on 30 years. But I felt the need to make that disclosure to the court.
Yes, well, before you came on camera, Ms. Evans said several mean things about you.
Well, and Your Honor, that's because I asked her in the preparation for this, how many lawyers get the opportunity to put their ex-wife under oath on the witness stand and question them.
All right, Mr. Anders, I can see you now. If you'll raise
Good.
if you'll raise your right hand, please, Mr. Anders. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that disclosure, Mr. Haglund, please feel free to proceed.
All right, and Your Honor, is it the pleasure of the court to start with the two witnesses to the application for heirship?
That will be fine. Now, whichever way you want to proceed.
All right, that's fine. I didn't know if you wanted me to start with Ms. White as the applicant or with the two witnesses, but we'll do the two witnesses first. Ms. Evans, we'll start with you. Would you state your full name, please, ma'am?
Vicki Evans.
All right, and you're here in court today as a witness to the heirship facts surrounding Lois Janine Bauer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And tell the court your relationship to the decedent, Ms. Bauer.
My Miss Bauer was my aunt. She was my mom's sister.
All right, and isn't it also true that for the last 50 years, your mother and the decedent, Ms. Bauer, were next door neighbors in addition to being sisters?
Yes, they were.
And very, very close throughout their lifetime.
Yes.
All right. Now,
it was her only sister. Yeah, they were the only. She was our only sibling.
Right. And is it true that the decedent, Lois Janine Bauer, was married once and only once in her lifetime?
Yes.
And that was to who?
To Robert Bauer.
All right. And for the court's understanding, when we were talking about Robert, that's the decedent's husband.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about Bob, that's her son. But,
my cousin. Yeah.
And is it true that Robert, his uncle Robert's always been Robert and Bob has always been Bob?
Right.
And that's the way we refer to him. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, Ms. Bauer was never divorced in her lifetime,
No,
and her marriage to Robert Bauer ended by his death. Is that correct?
yes.
And tell the court how many children were born to their marriage.
2, Becky Bauer and Bob, which is Robert Vernon Bauer.
All right, but who we always call Bob. And Becky Bauer is in fact Becky J. White, who's the applicant.
Yes.
And to your knowledge, having grown up nearby your aunt and uncle, did they ever adopt or care for any other child other than these 2 in their home?
No.
And neither one of them ever claimed any other child other than Becky and Bob.
No.
And to your knowledge, Becky and Bob remain close as siblings. You're not aware of any dispute within the family at all.
Not at all.
All right, Your Honor, I think that's all the questions that I have of Ms. Evans.
Okay, Mr. McElroy, I read your report. Do you have any questions of Ms. Evans?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Anders, you've heard the testimony of Ms. Evans?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you were asked the same questions by Mr. Haglund, would all your answers to those questions be the same?
They would be exactly the same. Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is your familiarity with the decedent, Lois Janine Bauer?
She's my aunt, my mother's sister, only sibling.
Okay, so you and Ms. Evans are siblings, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Very good. All right, Mr. Haglund, please proceed.
All right, Your Honor, if you are satisfied then with the testimony on the application to determine heirship, I can switch to the application for appointment of an independent administrator.
Yes, okay, Mr. McElroy, do you have any questions of Mr. Anders?
I don't, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. McElroy. Please proceed with Ms. White.
All right, would you state your full name, Ms. White, please?
It's Becky Janine Bauer White.
And you're here in court today seeking to be appointed as the independent administratrix of the estate of Lois Bauer.
Correct.
And Lois Bauer was your mother.
Correct.
And you, where do you reside, Ms. White?
In Sugar Land, Texas.
Is it true that your mother died intestate on December 19, 2017 in Beaumont?
That's correct.
And I assume you've made a diligent search and have found no evidence that she ever had a last will and testament.
That's correct.
Is it true that your mother had retained the age of 85 years at the time that she died?
Yes, sir.
And she had a domicile and a fixed place of residence at 13435 Rolling Hills Drive in Beaumont.
Correct.
She lived in Jefferson County all of her life, had she not?
Yes, sir.
And there is a need for administration in this estate, is there not?
Yes.
And is that need for administration related primarily to the fact that the stock transfer agent for ExxonMobil stock won't transfer the stock without the appointment of a representative of the estate?
That's correct.
And is it also true that there are several unsecured debts of the estate that would need to be addressed once the stock can be accessed?
That's correct.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Haglund. Have you provided with Ms. White a copy of a proof of death and other facts?
I have, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. White, have you read that proof of death and other facts?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is everything contained in that document true and correct and within your personal knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. McElroy, do you have any questions of the applicant?
I do not, Judge.
All right, Mr. McElroy, thank you for your service. I've read your report. You may be excused. So what's going to happen, Ms. White, is Mr. Haglund's going to make arrangements with Ms. Evans, Mr. Anders, and yourself to sign your proofs. You'll sign those before the notary publics, get those to him. He'll e-file those with the county clerk. When he does that, I'll sign the judgment declaring heirship and the order authorizing independent administration of your mother's estate. He'll then be able to get letters of administration from the county clerk for you. And you will be able to use those letters to deal with stock transfer agents, financial institutions, real estate title companies, and so forth. Please make sure that you cooperate with Mr. Hagley in getting a listing of the assets of your mother's estate, because he's going to have 90 days from the date I signed the order to file an inventory with the court. But otherwise, I hope everything goes well. I appreciate each of you taking time out of your schedules to come in today. Mr. Haglund, if you need anything else, please feel free to give me a call, and I hope everything goes well.
I'll do that. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank all of you. Thank you.
Welcome back.
It's over. It's over. I don't know how to sign out, but I'll
Got it. There we go. No. There we go. Very good. Mhm.
Good morning, you Ms. Gregory.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Gregory. I take it that you're originally, you must be a TJ graduate, huh?
I am.
I think I graduated a couple of years after your brother Francis, I believe.
Okay, that's in 75.
Yeah, I'm after him.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I graduated at 81.
oh, just a baby.
That's what everybody says.
All right, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call should be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, I'm going to hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Valerie Martin Fay. Do you recognize that as being his will?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask you if that's his signature on that document.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and after the date he made this will on September 19th of 1991, did he ever change it or revoke it?
No.
All right, go right ahead, Mr. Brinkley.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Gregory, the decedent is your dad, is that correct?
Yes.
Your dad's will actually names your mom to serve as the executor, but she has chosen not to and has waived her right to serve in favor of you serving. Is that correct?
Yes.
As we said here today, we had a chance to look at this document called the proof of death and other facts. And is everything on there true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'm going to ask you to sign that document in front of Michaela here. Okay, and while she's notarizing that, if you can go ahead and sign the oath as well.
Oh.
Okay, Michaela just finished notarizing both of those documents, Your Honor, and we have nothing further from this witness. She would like to get 6 letters if we can go ahead and let you know that.
Okay, Ms. Gregory, I have signed the order admitting your father's will to probate and authorizing the clerk to issue letters. Mr. Brinkley's going to e-file those documents you just signed, County Clerk. I know that he's going to be doing a great job of guiding you through the process, but if you please make sure that you cooperate with him in getting him a listing of the assets of your father's estate so that he can prepare an inventory and have that filed within 90 days, okay?
I will do that.
All right, I hope everything goes well. Y'all have a great week and let us know if you need anything, Mr. Brinkley.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, looks like Megan Jones on Dingle,
Same applicant.
same witness.
And same witness.
That's correct.
Okay. There you are. There you go. Danny, can you hear us?
Yes.
Great. All right.
John, they won't you in the
No,
picture.
no, they don't. Specifically.
Ms. Jones, you have Daniel Booth as the applicant in both cause numbers, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Elizabeth Hebert is the witness in both cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, if I can get both of you to raise your right hands, please. Okay, and I'm going to swear you in both cause number 125779, the estate of Shirley Butler Dingle. Cause number 125780, the estate of Robert Lionel Dingle, also known as Robert Lionel Dingle Sr. You and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in these two causes here under consideration shall be the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of Shirley Butler Dingle. Do y'all recognize that as being her will?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask if that is her signature on that document.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And it appears that Ms. Hebert, you were a witness on this will, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it shows that the decedent, Ms. Dingle, signed this on November 23rd of 2010, but it shows your signature. And is that your signature on that document?
Yes, sir.
It shows that you signed it 2 months earlier on September 23rd of 2010. Could you tell me what's the correct date that this document was executed?
September.
Okay. And I'm going to show each of you what purports to be the last will and testament of Robert Lionel Dingle. Do y'all recognize that as being his will?
I do.
And Is that his signature on that document?
Yes.
Yes.
And likewise, Ms. Hebert, were you a witness on that will?
Yes, sir, I was.
And it appears as though this one was dated properly.
Good.
All right, go right ahead, Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hebert, you were present at the will execution of Shirley Dingle and Robert Lionel Dingle, correct?
Oh, yes, I was.
Okay, and they occurred on the same date in September of 2010, correct?
Right. Same day, same time, same everything.
And the testator, which would be Shirley and Robert, they signed their wills in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was witnessed by two people, you and your husband, I apologize, Richard Hebert.
Right.
And
is
Richard
now
Hebert, yes, has since been deceased.
Yes.
And the testator, Shirley and Robert, signed the will in your presence?
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed in their presence?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Shirley and Robert of sound mind at the time they executed their wills?
Absolutely.
At the time their wills were executed, was Shirley Dingle and Robert Dingle at least both 18 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time the will was executed, was each one of the witnesses, you as well as your now deceased husband, Richard Hebert, at least 14 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Your Honor, we would like to admit this as both of them as valid wills. Or did you want me to separate the testimony, or is that okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
And then,
Mr. Booth, have you been provided with documents in both of those cases called proof of death and other facts?
Yes, sir.
And have you read both of those?
Yes, I have.
Is every statement contained in those documents true and correct and within your personal knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Jones, if you'll make arrangements for the witnesses to sign their proof before notaries, get those e-filed with the clerk, let me know.
okay.
I'll send the orders in both those cases. Mr. Booth, once I've done so, you'll be able to get letters that will give you authority to act on behalf of the estate. Please make sure that you cooperate with Ms. Jones in providing her information that will allow her to prepare and file with the court an inventory that needs to be filed within 90 days of the date I signed the order, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Hebert, for showing up here today. Ms. Jones, let me know if you need anything.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Take care now. Okay, look at Ms. Hallmark.
She said she's on and all we see is Bob, but we're not sure.
All you see is what?
Bob.
Okay, well, that's
It's the
probably,
same applicant.
okay, maybe Bob Dunham is her partner.
Okay. And this is the ad litem on Betty Jane Estate.
Let me see that one.
Yes.
Okay, someone there that has a computer called Bob. Who are you, sir? Can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Would you say something? You with the computer called Bob? Okay, he must be muted. Okay, it says connecting the audio. Okay, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
What case are you here on?
The Bauer.
That was the first one. The sixth one.
Okay, that one has already been heard, sir. That case was already disposed of by Mr. Haglund. But that case is over. You'll need to talk to the attorney about the end result of the proceedings.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care now.
You too.
We do not have.
Well, who is? Phyllis said she's on, but we don't see her. Who is? All we have is Cameron McCullough. We have Clara Orr, which, and Harvey Warren, which is for Harvey.
Okay, let's go ahead. Ms. Hoffman, I'm going to go ahead and move to one more case before you. See if we can find Ms. Hallmark. She said she signed on, but we're not finding her online. So we're going to do it in front of you, and we'll be right back to you.
Sure, no problem.
Let's go to Ms. McCullough. Okay, so this one is going to come back to me after we get the document signed.
This is Mr. Warren's report, and then these are the documents on why they want to do a independent trustee as opposed to a.
There we go.
Would you like some coffee?
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Our case was Larry down, and I went to pay him yesterday, and the secretary said that she didn't know how much I owed him, but she thought it was reset, that she was a good secretary.
Okay, you are,
So I figured I would come up here.
who are you, sir?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I heard a voice in the background. I didn't know if you were talking to me or someone else. I'm Cameron McCullough. I'm the attorney for the applicant or the applicants.
Where is Mr. Warren?
I see a box that says H at the bottom of my screen. I think that's probably him, Your Honor. I can, if you'll let me step away for a second, I can call him and tell him to.
He's signing on right now.
Perfect.
Let's give him one moment.
Sure.
But I don't know where Warren Martinez is.
Yeah, we're looking for Juan Martinez Jr.
All right. I gave them the instructions, Your Honor. I can go make a phone call real quick too, if that would help. I don't want to delay you. I know you've got a big docket.
Ask him if Clara Orr will be available.
Who?
It might be Clara Orr. We don't know.
Is there Clara Orr involved in this case?
No, sir. Not that I know of. I think it's just me and Mr. Warren and then the parties.
Hey, Barbara, can you help me start the video?
Clara and Ms. Hoffman are the only ones on. I asked her location on, she had responded.
Okay, Mr. McCullough, we're going to
Yes,
go
sir.
take one more case in front of you. That'll give you the opportunity to go ahead and go attempt to give them a call and see if they're having any kind of technical problems, okay?
Yes, sir. I will do so. Thank you.
Go back and see if we can find Ms. Hallmark.
I guess just push on it on the screen. I don't know.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Poor Bob, we're trying to get him on the beginning. Well, we tried. Yeah. Well, we don't even know how he was on there. He's not on there. It wasn't part of it.
Authority in those cities and the difference.
Judge, I'm sure my cleavage is for sure showing. Please don't.
I always look terrible on a Zoom call.
How come I'm not doing this?
Mine's like a totally different.
Good morning. Which estate are you online for today?
We are online for the Masoli estates. We have one. Yes, I'm Jessica Hallmark.
Okay, all we saw was Claire or we didn't know that was your computer.
Why does it say Claire or?
I'm not sure, but Judge is right here.
That makes 3 of us. Sorry.
Okay. We found this homework.
Yes, sir.
I think they're in the office with her.
Judge, I'm sorry. My legal assistant has no idea what she's doing, and neither do I.
Nope.
All right, so Ms. Hallmark, you have Janice Hayes and Shelley Perkins and Andrea Palmer with you?
Yes, sir. I sure do. Parker.
Parker?
Yes. Does your statement of fact say Parker?
Yes.
Okay. Look, let's scoot in, ladies, so Judge can see you. You might need Judge.
In the camera view, please.
Yes, we're doing that now. There we go. I got it.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I get you to raise your, Ms. Parker, you officer of the court. We can let you, we'll waive the oath for you if you will. Ms. Hayes and Ms. Perkins, do you raise your right hands, please? Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this call shall be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here.
Oh, okay.
Where's my docket sheet? There it is.
We should have changed that.
Okay, I'm gonna first, Ms. Hayes, well, we'll do Betty Ann Mazzola first, Betty Jane. All right, go right ahead on that estate.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Hayes, if you could please state your full name for the record.
Janice Blanclose Hayes.
Okay, and actually, Ms. Hayes, how are you related to Betty Jane?
Oh, that's my mother.
Okay, and you have reviewed the proof of death and other facts this morning and previous to this morning, correct?
Yes.
And is everything in there true and correct?
It is.
Okay. And did she have a will at the time that she passed away?
She did not.
Okay. All right. Ms. Perkins, if you could, please state your name for the record.
Shelley Franklin Perkins.
Okay. Now, your affidavit says Shelley Ann Perkins.
Yes.
Is that how your driver's license reads?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
actually.
thank you. And in front of you, you have a statement of facts. Now, how long did you know Betty Jane Masoli?
Since the late 80s.
Okay. And you've reviewed the statement of facts. Is everything in it true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Ms. Parker, if you could please state your full name for the record.
Andrea Lynn Parker.
Okay. And Ms. Parker, how long did you know Betty Jane Masoli?
Over 25 years.
Okay, and you reviewed the statement of facts that's in front of you multiple times, right?
I have.
Okay, and are the statements therein true and correct?
They are.
Okay, Judge, I pass the witnesses.
Okay, Ms. Hart, do you have any questions of these witnesses? I've read your report.
Just to confirm with them that I did speak with them by phone last week and that they were well acquainted with the family. And they did confirm all the facts that were presented in the application. So I'm of the opinion that the errors have been determined.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ms. Hart. All right. We'll move on to James Bruno Masoli's estate. And Ms. Hayes, I'm going to hold up what purports to be the last will and testament of James Bruno Masoli. Do you recognize that as being his will?
I do.
And I'm going to go back to the signature page and ask you, is that his signature on that document?
It is.
And after the date he made this will on March 9th of 2021, did he ever change it or revoke it?
No, sir.
All right, go right ahead, Ms. Hallmark.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Hayes, now you have, how many siblings? 3. Okay. I should have done this in the last one, so I got confused, so forgive me. Okay, so this is, we had to amend the proof of death and other facts because I think I had your name misspelled. I apologize. But you've read this proof of death and other facts. Is it true and correct?
It is.
Okay, and are you asking the court to appoint you as independent executrix?
Yes.
And that's what your dad's will states, correct?
It is.
Okay. Judge, I don't have, that's all I got. And we have her oath here as well.
Okay, go ahead. You have a notary in there with you, Ms. Hallmark?
I do. Yes, sir. She was notarizing the other witness statements, but hold on just a moment and I'll grab her.
Very good. Ms. Hart, Ms. Hoffman, you may be excused. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dana,
Yeah.
can you
Thank
come
you.
notarize this? Yes. So if we look down here. So you want to say hi to Judge? Okay. And Judge, we should be able to get letters this afternoon.
Yeah, as soon as you e-file those,
Okay.
so you let me know that all the documents are notarized, I'll sign the order.
Okay, yes, sir. And I apologize for, I think Bob had a hearing and let a witness use this, and so the name was changed. I'm so sorry.
I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive you.
Well, I love you too. Okay, sign here. Okay, sign here. So how's everybody?
Everybody doing good. I just got back from 4 days of backpacking in the mountains of Colorado, so I'm feeling really good.
I was about to say, no wonder you're in such a good mood. Did you get an elk?
I didn't hunt. I was just backpacking.
Oh, cool. Did you get any snow?
We did. It was first 2 days. It was beautiful and sunny, and the third day it was snowing and the wind was blowing about 45 miles an hour. I was really glad that I had bought a brand new, very high quality 20-degree sleeping bag, so I was able to sleep.
Where were y'all?
In the Buffalo Peaks Wilderness between Fairplay and Buena Vista, Colorado.
Oh, how beautiful. I bet the leaves were gorgeous.
It was absolutely stunning.
Judge, everything's been notarized.
All right. I've signed the order admitting Mr. Masoli's will to probate. I've signed the judgment declaring heirship and the order authorizing independent administration in Mrs. Masoli. And And says if you'll just make sure that you cooperate with Ms. Hallmark in getting her a listing of the assets of the estate so that she can do inventories and have those filed within 90 days. But otherwise, everything's ready to go. When you e-file that, she'll be able to get her letters of administration or letters testamentary. And let me know if you need anything else, and y'all have a great week.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mr. McCullough Martinez, he's still not on, so we may have to reschedule that.
Okay, well, why don't you get Phyllis to let him know that if he wants to do it after the contested hearings, if they can figure out what the technical issues are, then I'll be happy to do it then.
Okay.
So you just want me to close out?
Yes, we're gonna move over.
Yeah, and find out